Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Nesochi, Awujo. Oh, it's okay. Please come in. My name is Nesochi Awujo, and so welcome to the Microsoft Excel Taster Workshop. So today we're just going to have a taster. It's based on intermediate and advanced Excel topics. However, I would like to emphasize the word taster. Okay? So please don't forget anytime during this session the word taster. Okay? The reason being that a typical, has anybody ever been for Excel training recently? Oh, that's good. Anyone?
There are Excel trainings.
What?
There are Excel trainings.
Oh, seriously? Yes, there are. Okay. Now, usually an intermediate course, it's a full day course, and advanced courses are 2 days. So when I say taster, I really do mean like, taste. That's what I mean. Okay, so, but welcome. I hope you've enjoyed the conference so far, and you're welcome to this session. So, first of all, the theme of our conference is accelerate your career, okay? And for those of you who have decided to attend an Excel workshop, I have a question. So how can Microsoft Excel help accelerate my career? Somebody just asked, Excel workshops? Yeah, because, sometimes user applications, people think about, if I was going to become a Microsoft, they'll do MCSE, or I'm going to be on the Microsoft engineer, CCIE, and stuff like that. But when you say Excel, it just sounds quite trivial. Huh? So, but I have a question. So there must be a reason why you came in here today. How can Microsoft Excel help accelerate my career? Okay? Yes.
Working better, working faster, because I know there are a lot of functions that you can do so many things with, but a lot of people are not aware of them. So you end up doing things manually that can be automated, and you end up wasting time basically.
Exactly. So it's efficiency and time saving. Okay. Any other thoughts about how I can how Microsoft Excel can help accelerate my career? Yes, sir.
For analysis and reporting.
Okay, analysis and reporting. Okay, so just checking. I'm just assuming everyone here has used Excel to some extent. No, it's just really. I don't mind if you haven't. It's just I'm going to assume a bit of knowledge, because we put it at intermediate level. But then I'm assuming a bit of knowledge. Is that right? Is there anyone who feels that they haven't really used Excel that much?
Yes, I'm not comfortable using it. I'm still. I just want to get more of it.
You just want to get more of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have opened Excel and done some stuff in it. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So, yes, any other thoughts about who uses Excel frequently at work? Who uses Excel all the time? Yes.
Every day.
Every single day. Can you tell us some of the stuff you do with Excel?
A lot of reconciliation, getting to different sets of data, and maybe searching on the data set or analyzing the data.
Okay, so how do you analyze the data? What are some of the tools that you use?
A lot of SUMIFs, nested SUMIF statements.
Okay, so you use SUMIFs, yeah? Mm-hmm. Any other?
Index.
Indexing, okay.
Yeah, so you might use SUMIF and index together. Some VLOOKUPs.
VLOOKUPs.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone here who hasn't heard of some of the things that she's talking about? Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. Yeah? SUMIFs.
Oh,
Okay, SUMIFs. Okay, have you heard that? You use them? Okay, VLOOKUPs, anybody?
I've seen
Heard.
it,
Seen them?
but I've not really
Not really gone into them.
Used it, yeah.
If functions, anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Some people use if functions. You use if functions, did you
Yeah.
say? Okay. All right. Pivot tables, anybody?
I've
Okay.
heard of it as well.
You've heard of it as well, but not used it. Okay, brilliant. That's the whole idea. Okay, if you guys had said to me, you've heard of all these things, I'll just kind of just pack my stuff and run out. Okay, so essentially, I think one of the main things, is that thing of efficiency and time saving. Microsoft Excel is one of the most robust applications that you have out there. There's just so many things to do in there. And to be honest, I was one of those people who didn't really take Excel very, very seriously. Okay, I have a background in engineering and I got into training. Okay, so because of my background, I do a lot of, and I am passionate about user training. So some people, I could possibly, if I wanted to, go and do networking and stuff like that. So, but I am passionate about kind of breaking down technical things to people. But I always used to take myself very, very, I always felt I used to call myself the lazy IT person because everyone's talking about, Cisco networks and I'm talking about Microsoft Excel. So I remember when I got made redundant about 4 years ago and I came out and I was like, who's even going to hire you for Microsoft Excel? And then I became self-employed and started training on my own, and I can tell you, 99% of the work I do is training on Excel in different organizations, financial organizations, name it. I've gone from retail to schools, and it's Microsoft Excel. So actually, Microsoft Excel has been feeding me for about, 4 years? And so I don't take it, for granted anymore. And the thing is, when you do walk into these places and you always have people say to you, oh, I use Excel all the time. The question is, how efficiently are you using Excel? Because I've walked into an organization and then there was this lady, for example, she had this beautiful table and, it was just lovely. And she asked me a question. I was looking at her table, I was like, oh, gosh, you've done this very well. It really looks nice and everything. She says, oh, wow, that takes me a week to do. And I thought, why should I take you a week to do? But apparently, she would start the table in, I can't remember, I think she does it in Word and she imports it into PowerPoint and, there were all sorts of things going on. And I was looking at the table and all she wanted was to be able to split cells and merge cells. And then, she would use lines and she was just drawing this thing. It was perfect, but it took her forever. And I sat down with her in 1 hour and we got it done. So that's 1 week's work jammed into an hour. So that's why we do workshops like this and trainings like this. It's to be able to become more efficient in using the application and applying the knowledge. And that's how it accelerates your career. Because if you're more efficient, then you're more likely to perform and meet your targets. And then you get promoted. Okay? Or maybe you come and be a trainer like me and then make money out of training Excel. Anyway, so that's just kind of understanding why we're doing this. But today's session really, like I said, is a taster workshop. And this is what we aim to do, if I can get my pointer working. Oh, I just done. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to do that. That's what I meant to do. Okay, so what we'll aim to cover today is what I have on the screen. So we hope to review some of the basics, okay? And my, sorry, what's your name? Emmanuel, over there. When we say review the basics, I'm not going to go to 1+1 and stuff like that. But then we are going to kind of create a spreadsheet and just work through it. So some of those basic things, hopefully, we will whiz through them within that time. And then we're going to look at some time savings. We've been talking about efficiency all evening. Please welcome, please sit down. We've been talking about efficiency, so we're going to look at some things that can save us some time. and then we'll have a breeze through functions. And like I said, an advanced Excel workshop will take 2 days. So I am literally going to breeze through the functions. But we're going to have an overview of function library, and then kind of have a taster of some of those summits and if functions that we've mentioned already. And then we will also, depending on time, have a look at analysis tools. Remember, we have 2 hours, so we'll see how it goes. And then look at how we can present Excel data. Now, is there anyone here who came with their own laptop who wants to work along as we go along? Please feel free to open up your laptop and work along with me as we go. If you don't have your laptop, it will be a demonstration style session, so hopefully you'll also pick up on what we're doing. Is that okay? Okay, so, while you're getting ready, I'll still talk about, how we're going to approach this today, okay? It's, carry on doing what you're doing. This won't affect you. Just, you can listen to me as you carry on doing what you're doing. So this is what we're intending to kind of cover, okay? And along the lines, I will mention, different things that, other functions and other things that you can do. Then obviously, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. There may be questions that are too detailed. Remember, we have 2 hours. Yeah, I keep emphasizing this 2 hours. Okay, so, and then those we can kind of take after the session. Yes? Yeah, I understand. It's just because it's a practical session. I might be doing something, and then if you just want clarification on what we're doing, that's fine. But if it's a deep question where I'm going to start explaining something, then we'll deal with that later. Okay? Yeah. Okay. And then we'll also take a short break after an hour. Okay. And then resume after that. Okay. All right. So the way we're going to approach this is, I would like you. Oh no. I am totally going in the wrong direction. Okay. So this evening, okay, I would like to welcome you to the Easy Excel company. This is the way we're going to approach this. Okay, so we're assuming it's a nice company. Okay, so we have this company called the Easy Excel company, and we would like you all to participate. As you can see, I have about 5 strange people putting together some puzzles on that, okay? So the way we're going to do it is we're going to create a spreadsheet that relates to this company, and then we're going to start working on some of the things that we need to do. Now, first things first, okay? I'm just going to minimize this. Let me open up the spreadsheet that we have. Okay, and this is what we have. Can everybody see this? Let me try and make it bigger. Okay, something like that. Okay. Now, for those of you who are trying to follow me, you can just put in the heading and the column headings. You don't need to type the data because we're going to generate some data from inside the session today, okay? So, but I was talking about this company, and as you can see, we have some illustrious people that we've already managed to get in here. So we have Sherlock Holmes, and my best person there is Janet Bond, 007.5. So, now, the thing about this company is it's your ideal company, so you get to choose how much you get paid. In fact, you get to choose what you do, and then you get to choose how much you get paid, and then you get to choose how many hours you work a week. So this is probably the time to dream. I don't know if you love the job that you do already, but for today, you can get to be whatever you want to be. So I'd like to ask for 5 volunteers. Who's going to volunteer to become an employee of our company today? Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3. I need 2 more people. 4. And seriously, you don't want to work here. You get paid anything. Fine. Okay. All right. So what am I? Can I? Agatha, could you help me with the microphone? Okay. So I'm going to enter some more data on here. Okay. So this is employee number 1. And what I'd like you to do is to just give us your first name and your last initial. And as she's telling us the information, we're going to be typing it in. Is that okay? All right. So first name, last initial.
Toyo, first name.
Toyo.
And last name. Last name is
No, yes.
O.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right. And okay, so could you tell us what you would like to do for us today? Sorry, we're still on here. Just tell me, choose a role. What's your
Data analyst.
Data analyst. So you like the job that you do. Okay, that's good. Analyst. I'm assuming you're a data analyst at the moment. No, you're not.
I'm a station operations manager.
Okay, so
I run railway, nothing.
Okay, but you want to become a data analyst?
Next week, yeah.
I love it. Brilliant. Okay, so how much would you like us to pay?
£300 per hour.
£200 per hour. I like people who
No,
do
I
it.
said 3. Sorry.
300. Gosh, I'm even.
UK. 300, please.
£300 per hour. This is cool. How many hours do you want to work a week?
I could do 30.
You can do 30. At least you're hard working. It's not too bad. Okay, thank you very much. Who's the second person? Toyo, thank you very much for that. So, Emmanuel, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Emmanuel, and what's your surname, your last initial?
Oh,
Oh, okay. So, Emmanuel, what would you like to do for us in this company? You can do anything you like. Use your mic.
Will that be what I do normally?
It could be what you do, it could be what you want to
Okay,
do. You could decide to become the president, it doesn't matter, of a fictional country, no problem, anything. What do you want to do for us?
Counselor?
You want to be a counselor, thank you very much. Counselor, hope I'm spelling it right.
Yeah.
Thank you. How much do you want us to pay you per hour?
Thinking about it.
You're thinking about
£40.
£40. You're very modest, thank you. You see? It's charity. This is somebody who's doing it from his heart. Can you see that? How many hours do you want to work a week?
40 hours.
40 hours. He's also hardworking. This is lovely. Brilliant. Thank you, Emmanuel. Okay. All right. Emmanuel, could you pass it on to the next lady on there? You did volunteer, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. What's your first name?
Sarah.
Sarah.
S.
Sarah S. Thank you. Sarah, what would you like to do for us?
Accounting.
Accounting. Okay, I have very serious people here. Accountants. Thank you. And your hourly rate?
60.
60. Okay. Brilliant. And how many hours do you want to work a week?
35.
35. Brilliant. I have hard-working people here today. Okay, so please, can we pass it on to the lady over there?
Hi. My name is Mary.
Mary. Mary, what's your last initial?
Oh,
Oh, thank you very much. And what would you like to do for us?
let's see. I will be doctor.
You will be a doctor. Thank you very much. We do need people to look after us. Yes, hourly rate. How much do you want us to pay per hour?
What the NHS pays, or you want you to pay me? What the NHS pays, or you want me to pay anything?
I said you could choose whatever. This is the dream company. You
I
can choose
charge 500 an hour.
500 an hour. This is a very expensive doctor, but you went to school, so yes.
1 month, 1 million.
So how many hours do you want to work?
Call for 45 hours.
45 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. All right, so who's the last one? Oh yes, that's the lady over there. Thank you. So,
My name is Betty.
Betsy. Last initial?
You.
You. Thank you very much. So, what do you want to do for us?
I'd like to be the Excel trainer.
You'll be the She wants to take over my job. Well, it is the Easy Excel company. We have space for many. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So hourly rates,
I'd say about 100.
about 100. At least she doesn't want to charge too much. Okay. How many hours do you want to work a week?
20.
20. Okay. You guys are very hardworking. I had somebody who gave himself £2,000 an hour to work 10 hours a week. As the party manager. Wow. So you guys are actually quite modest. Thank you very much. Okay. Please pass the mic. Okay. So, what we've just done here is to generate some simple payroll data for the Easy Excel company. And I want to thank you so much for giving us that information. So what we're going to do with this information is, first of all, we know what everyone's doing. We know how many hours they're working a week. And we know what the hourly rate is. Okay? So this is us just covering some of the basics. What we want to do now is to calculate the weekly pay for each of these people. Okay, so who is willing to talk us through this? What's the first thing I need to do?
Equal sign.
Okay, the equal sign, thank you very much. And then, what? Yes?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, please,
The
please.
first cell we want to use as a factor.
Okay, so which fields do you think we'll be using here?
C4.
C4. Okay, so we click into C4. Okay, and what do I need to do next? Anybody can tell.
The asterisk.
Asterisk, and what's the next one?
The cell D4.
Thank you very much. Sorry, sir, what's your name?
Victor.
Victor. Thank you very, very much, Victor. So, essentially, we have obviously done a simple formula. Okay, we start with the equal sign. The equal sign is what tells Excel we are about to do a calculation. And then we will put in the cell reference. Okay, so why didn't I type 75 in there? Why did we put C4 rather than type 75? Who wants to tell us? I'm sure you guys know this stuff. Talk to me.
Because you want to pass by reference, not by value.
Okay. Okay. Why is that important?
Because when the value in that cell changes,
Mm-hmm.
the formula will still work, but if you use the actual value.
Okay. So this is one of the principles of good Excel design or good spreadsheet design. Is that you want your spreadsheet to be reusable. Okay. So that's why we do the cell referencing thing. That means that if somebody else took this, stripped it of all my information, they should be able to use it and it will work. Okay, so that's why we use the cell referencing. And then I'll press enter. Okay, now, I want to do exactly the same thing for everyone else on the list. How do I get to do that very quickly? Yes?
You drag down.
Okay, drag down. Any other thoughts? That's absolutely correct, sir. Thank you.
Copy and paste.
Okay, you can cut and paste, okay? Okay. Now, one of the simplest ways you can do this, if you go to the bottom right corner, okay, once it turns into a black cross, double click.
Really?
Yeah. Time savers, right? So this is what we're talking about, efficiency. So you do not need to drag it down. And why the double click is really, really good is because, well, because this is a quick session and we only have, about 10 people on there. For most of you, you'll be working on spreadsheets that go to 1,000 rows. I've got somebody, and I'm so glad I don't work in those companies, I'm so glad I go in, I train them, and go away because they come up with these spreadsheets and I'm thinking I don't want to be looking at that all day. So where you have rows and rows of data, you could just keep dragging forever. So double click, don't drag. Okay? Is that useful?
Very good.
Excellent. Brilliant. So that's your first time saver there. Okay, now back to the Easy Excel. Yes.
Sorry, I missed that bit. How did you drag it?
Okay, I'll just do it again. I didn't drag it. Okay, I will delete that. Now, once you have calculated, done the first calculation in the first row, you go to the bottom right corner of that cell. Once it turns into a black cross, you can then double click on it and it will fill the rest. Okay? So that's
It has to be on its own.
now if you're if the double click isn't working, it might just be because I suspect you might be using Excel online. Okay, some features, although I imagine the double click should work, but some features, it's a it doesn't have as much functionality as your desktop version. So we can have a look at that later and see what's going on. Okay, all right. So we've copied down the formula, and the reason why it can do this is because of something called relative cell referencing, and that means that once you have done your calculation in the first cell, once you drag it down, Excel will relate that formula to the cells as you go down. It will just keep changing the cell referencing and drag it down. So that's what we call relative cell referencing. Okay, now back to our company. Okay, like I said, this is one of the most generous companies we have on the planet. Very regularly we just decide to give bonuses. Yes, we do that. Okay, we do that sometimes because we're making profit, sometimes because we're in a good mood. Okay, and these things vary. Okay, so it could be 10% this month and it could be 20% next month. So if you go down, I have typed in the word bonus in cell A15, and for this month we've decided we're going to do a 10% bonus. Okay, so that's what we have on here. Okay, so what I'd like to do is I would like to calculate the bonus for Sherlock Holmes up there and apply that bonus to his weekly pay. Does that make sense? Does anybody know what I need to do? Okay, of course I need to put the equal sign to start with. Okay, and then what's the next step? Okay, so cell B15, okay, all right, star, okay, and what's the next thing? And then I suppose the weekly pay, isn't it? E15. So because I'm doing 10%, I'm doing the bonus of that. That's complete, is it?
Sorry, I was slightly distracted. Can you choose that bonus again? So
okay.
It's equal sign to start.
So it's the equal sign, okay, and they've said cell B15,
okay,
right?
yes,
okay,
that's right.
Multiplied by the weekly pay.
That's
okay,
right. Okay, great.
that's right. Okay, and that looks like the correct answer, right? Yeah. Everyone agreed?
Yeah.
No, not everyone is agreed. You see, you should have spoken up earlier. What's the problem?
It's not good.
Because when you, if you were to double click and close down, the cell reference would continue down and down, so it wouldn't pick B15 each time. So you need to put, I think it's a dollar sign.
Absolutely. I was hoping somebody would spot that. Okay, so you are absolutely right. Now, when I double click, you notice that what I get is zeros. So even though the first formula is correct, okay, but we've just talked about relative cell referencing, because what Excel does is, as you drag down, it just keeps changing the cell referencing based on whatever you put in there. So when you drag it down, it's going to assume that the next one is B16, and of course there's nothing in B16.
Sorry, I didn't quite follow.
Okay.
How you go to 10%?
So when you're doing a formula, okay? So when you're doing a formula, I'll just talk you through this from the beginning, okay? So you do your equal sign. So this is, first of all, you're going to calculate something. Yeah. And what we're calculating here is the bonus for Sherlock Holmes. The bonus is 10% off the weekly pay. All right? Yeah. So we type the equal sign, that's where we begin, okay? And then we click on the cell that has the bonus figure, which is B15, okay? we do a multiplication sign, and then we go to E4, which is where you have his weekly pay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You press enter and you get the correct answer. Now, the only issue with what we've done is, if we try to copy this down, we will get an error because of relative cell referencing. It's going to just keep going down and picking the cells that go below this one. Okay? So you'll see what happens here is, this is, if you look on the formula bar at the top of your screen, you can see that this is equal to B15 times E4. Okay? Now when we click on the next one, it will say B16 times E5. Okay? So what we need to do is to tell Excel that we don't want it to move from here. Okay? Which is what my sister back there explained. Sorry, what's your name? Fumbi. So that's what Fumbi was explaining, is that because of relative cell referencing, you need to be able to go and tell Excel to stay on that cell. And that's what we call absolute cell referencing. So we need to make that cell absolute. Okay? And I'm going to show you how you do that. And like you said, you need to put dollar signs in there. Okay, so I'm just going to delete what we've just done. And we're going to click back in here. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. But this time around, we're going to make the cell absolute. So we start by typing in our equal sign. Okay? And then we'll click on weekly pay. Do our multiplication sign. And then we'll click on B15, which is where we have our bonus. Right? And now, the easiest way to make a cell absolute is once you click on it, if you press your F4 key, okay, so press F4, and it will automatically add on the dollar sign for you. Can you see that? F4, did that work?
Equals B4
Times, okay,
Yes. B10.
times.
And then what? How's the dollar sign?
No.
On F4.
just press F4. As far as you're clicked somewhere beside that cell, if you press F4, yeah, that's right. Okay. Not S4, F. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, escape, cancel. Okay, so do your equal sign. Equal. Okay, now click on weekly pay.
What do you want to do?
Do your multiplication sign. And then click on that. And then just press F4.
Oh dear, how does it work for Mac?
Oh yeah, okay, and I think I know what your problem is. Cancel. Okay. It's because I think you need to press function in order to get to your function.
So press the function first or together?
No, you press function
And
and
then
phone.
together.
It's your laptop setting.
Do you know what
Are you on a
Mac?
Mac?
Yeah.
I can help you.
Oh, sugar.
I'm not saying that it
I'm
doesn't work on a
using
Mac.
Excel for Mac, but I don't know how.
Because there are function keys.
Yeah,
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
Okay. So where are we? Function.
Just pay attention to what she said.
Click on the wrong thing. Sorry, type it in again for me. Yes? Did you get it? Okay, so click on yes.
So equals weekly pay, right? Weekly pay.
If you click on it, so that's the one, whichever cell you want to make absolute. Once you type it, once you click on it, so yeah, and then click in there, then press that. center. Okay, so let's see. MacBook Air. Yes, maybe. So let's see. Let me try. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. And then asterisks. Right. And then that one. And then okay, so when we press that one. Okay, maybe it's not functional. Yeah. Sorry. Is there another way? I don't know. I have only 2 hours.
Yeah, you have to change. You have to change.
I can't be bothered with a Mac.
Go to system preference.
Sorry.
Go to system preference.
It's a Mac. Yeah. And all due respect to, Apple, there are lovely people. We have a war between the Mac and the PC in my house. I am Windows and my husband is Mac. I can't be bothering with that. So. Okay, so but did it work for everyone else? I've managed to sort somebody out. Okay, unfortunately I have to speed this along, but it does work. If alternatively, if you're fine, oh, actually, can I get you to do something else? Toya, you can actually type in the $signs. Yes. So what you do is you do equal to E4 star, and then you type in $B, just type it in. Don't click in the cell, okay? So just type $B.
Like that?
Yeah.
Yes, your $sign on B.
B.
Yeah. And then dollar
again.
Sign.
Yeah. And then the $sign. Yeah. And then 15.
15.
Yeah. And then press enter.
Oh shit. I'm so angry.
What's going on?
Have I clicked on too many things?
Oh, sorry. Okay, why don't I try and look into that during the break? Is that okay, too? If you could just follow us and then we can look into that during the break. Okay, so, sorry guys. Hopefully that's worked for everybody. And press enter. And now when we copy that down, it should work better. Is that okay? So that's how we do that. That's absolute cell referencing. That's one of the basic things that you do need to know in Excel. That's why I've gone into it. Because a lot of people, they can do lookups, but they don't know what absolute cell referencing is. It's quite important. Now, there's something else I would like us to have a look at. See if I can make this a bit smaller. Now, another way of making a cell, absolutely, sorry guys at the back. Another way of, something else that you can do in Excel is name your cells, okay? Has anyone here used name cells before? Name cells? You've heard about it but haven't used it, okay. Now, let's have a look at this. So this is what we're going to do. You see that cell B15 on mine, it might be a different cell in yours, yeah? So cell B15, where we have the bonus, I'd like to name that cell, okay? And if you look at the top of your screen, up here, now what we have here is the formula bar, and just beside it we have this box on here where you have the cell reference. You can see B15 on there. That's called your name box, okay? And now the way that Excel works, no two cells can have the same reference, okay? So that's why you can only have one C15, only one D25. No two cells can have the same reference. Now, what you do by naming a cell, okay, means that you are actually making that cell absolute. You're giving that cell a name. If you try, you can't name one cell bonus and then name another cell bonus. They all, every cell has to have its own name. So what we're going to do with this cell is that we're going to name it. And it's a very, very simple process. You click into the cell. This is cell B15 where we have the percentage figure. And then we click into the name box. Once you click into the name box, it will select the cell reference on there. And then you can type whatever name you want. This time I'm going to call it bonus. So type bonus. Okay? And once you typed it, you press enter. Okay? So when I click away from this cell, and then come back in here, you will notice that it will always say bonus. Okay. Now, if I want to use bonus for any other cell, I'll have to do bonus 1 or bonus 2. No other cell can be named bonus in this spreadsheet. And what you can then do once you've named the cell is that you can use that cell in a formula. Okay? So, if I go back to what we did earlier on, I'll type another bonus heading in here. Okay? So I can do exactly the same calculation I did before, but this time I'm just going to use the word bonus. So if we go equal to weekly pay, okay, so I've clicked in the cell that, no, sorry, that's not the cell. E4, which is where we have the weekly pay, okay? And then multiplication sign, and then I'm just going to type the word bonus, right? Press enter, and it will do that calculation for me. Now, because that cell reference is also unique, because I've named it, it becomes absolute, which means I can easily do this. Okay? Now, why do we name our cells? It's sometimes to make it easy for you to understand what's going on in the spreadsheet. You can actually name a cell range as well. So if you have figures on the same sheet where you have quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, you can name that range and use it in formulas. You can use it in any function, in any formula, it will be recognized. Does that make sense? Good. Okay? So that's us naming our cells. And once you've named the cell, it's probably good I just show this. Let's see what my time says. If you go on to formulas, because once you've named the cell, it will have that name until you remove that name. So if you want to go and take it away, if you go onto your formulas bar, formulas tab, under defined names, you'll see where you have your name manager. And if you click on name manager, you will see the cell that I've named on there, bonus, okay? So I can decide to delete this name from here. Once I delete it, are you sure you want to delete the name bonus? I will say okay, and then I will close, and you will notice that that formula no longer works, okay? So that's just something that you might find useful. How are we doing so far? We cool?
Can you change the
Sorry,
name
quick question.
instead of deleting it?
So yeah, you can change the name. You can, once you go into that name box, you can manipulate it. You can change the name. You can change the cells that it refers to. You can do all sorts of things. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
The cell manager. Where do you have the
So the cell manager, if you look, sorry, the name manager, you mean?
manager?
So if you look up there at the top of your screen, you have your tabs. That's your formulas tab, and then in the defined names group, you can see name manager on there. So you just click on that. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Let me answer.
Quick
first.
question.
Mary.
What version of Excel are you using?
I'm using 2016.
2016.
Okay, but I have deliberately kept the things that I'm talking about generic to the extent that you can use it in 2010, and I haven't really included any of the 2016 features. But all of this stuff works in 2010 upwards. Probably 2007 as well. Okay, maybe it's just slightly different. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So there is the named reference. Does it work when you're linking two workbooks?
Yeah, as far as you have named that cell, it will work. Okay, that formula will work. Yes, okay. All right, so we are almost getting to our halfway mark, but before we go, let's do one more thing in this spreadsheet. Now, remember we're talking about time savers. I've kind of covered the preliminary, the basics that I wanted to cover. Next thing I want to look at is, we've already seen some time savers, right? We've seen some things that will save you a bit of time as well. But then I want to look at something that we call automatic list. Who knows what an automatic list is? Who's ever heard that term? Or thinks they know? Yes, ma'am.
Not heard of it.
You've heard of it. You don't know what it is. Okay? Okay, does anybody know what an automatic
I
list
think I have an idea. Is it, you save data in a list form, so when you click on a particular cell, it would auto-fill out like something you might need to fill out, basically. Yeah.
Good. Okay? But can I say something? You know, usually when I ask this question, people say, oh no, we don't know what an automatic list is. But we'll see in a minute. You probably do. You just didn't know that was what it was called. Yeah? Okay. So, let's say, I'm just going to scroll to my side a bit. So here, I've decided that I want to put information on the months of the year. Okay. So, what would you normally do? I'll type January. So what would you do next? What do? You just scroll it down.
Yeah.
So you see, you know what an automatic list is. That is an automatic list. Alright? So how many of us know what an automatic list is? Okay, so you do it for months of the year, days of the week. Those are the ones that are programmed there as per standard. But just like I didn't ask your name, sorry.
Oh,
Ife. Just as Ife said, okay, you can create your own automatic list. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the data that we have already generated. We want to turn the staff names into an automatic list because we reckon we're going to be using this over and over again. In fact, I'm going to use it again today. So we can turn those staff names into an automatic list so that every time I come in, I can just type the first one and copy it down like I would do my January to December. Okay? So, how do we do an automatic list? If you have a pen and paper, this is the time to write. So you click on File. It's actually quite simple. Click on File if you know where it is. It's simple. Okay? File, and then you go to Options. Okay? And, whoa, I can't believe that. Advanced, yes. I have to look. Go to Advanced. And then usually once you get to Advanced, when you're on the right pane, you will need to scroll down. If you scroll down all the way to the end, you will see a general group on there. Okay, so the general section. And in the general section, you will see a button there that says Edit Custom Lists. So click on it. And this is where it will be. Oh my God, I already did it.
Edit what?
Sorry. Yeah, okay. Right. Now, this is what you would normally see once you get here. You would see Monday, Tuesday, all of those ones these are the ones that we do already. Those were pre-programmed into Excel. So what we're going to do is we're going to then add our own list onto there. Okay? So, let's get it back to. Okay, so once you get to that point, what you can do, you can either go in here, you can actually go and type in your own list if you want to. You can do that. You can type in your own list. But because we've already typed the list into our Excel sheet, we can go to that sheet and import the list from there. Okay? So if you look at the bottom of that dialog box where it says import list from cells, I'll click into that box there. Okay? Now once you're clicked into the box, you can then go in here and highlight the list that you want. If this box is blocking the way, you will notice that there's a button here with the red arrow on it. If you click on that, it will collapse the box for you. And you can go and highlight the names. So I've just highlighted the names, all of the names on there. Yeah? And then you click on that arrow again, it will expand the box. And you will notice that those cell references are in there. Okay? Now, if you click on import, it will import them in here and add them to your list on there. I'll click add. I don't think you need to do add. And then you click OK. Okay? And then you click OK again, and you're back into your spreadsheet. Okay. Now, just before we take a break, let's just make sure it actually does work. So I'm going to start from that first cell, and I'll just type Sherlock Page. Okay, and bottom right corner, once it turns into a black cross, I'll double click, and there you go. Cool. So, yes, ma'am.
In case I forgot that Sherlock H is the first person.
Can't help you. Yeah, so everything has an advantage and a disadvantage, okay? So you do need to remember the first person, okay? But actually, if you pick up from anywhere on the list, okay, so just to give you an example, it's just like if you go and do, let's say I start from Toyo. Toyo O. And if I go and start dragging it down, it will keep going down. So even if you've forgotten the first person, you can start from anywhere on the list and drag it down and you will remind yourself. But do you see how that works? You do need to know the people on the list. Yes. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Well,
hello, everyone.
yes. So I'm going to pass to the moderator. We'll just take a break. And
thank you very much. Has anyone got any questions? Has anyone got any questions?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to actually highlight an active list? For example, now you have something that's actually active, like currency prices, changing, or commodities, and then you highlight it from some source and import it. Having active balance, can you actually do that?
No, remember that if you notice, if I just show you, okay, I'm just going to go back into options, advanced, I just want to emphasize something. Now look, when I click on there, what's in there is a cell reference. Okay, so even if that data changes, it's referring to the cells. So whatever happens to that cells, if it's a list that changes every day the data will change. But I can see what the problem is. That means I won't remember the first person on that. I need to investigate that. But that would be the thing. You still need to know what's the first line of that list to be able to copy it down. But as far as, but there will be that issue of needing to at least know what's contained in that first cell. But it will change the data with the cells because it's working on the cell reference, not the actual content of the cell. Okay. All right. Yes.
So, would it be possible to rename each of those lists? So rather than you having it, so in case like, let's say I have multiple data sets or with people's names. So what if I choose to rename that first one as payroll and something else can be maybe contractors or staff names? Am I communicating?
I think you're getting there.
So basically what I'm trying to say is, this first one's done now is payroll. So payroll.
So what you're talking about, when you're talking about, are you talking about the custom list or are you talking about the actual spreadsheet?
No.
Within the
list. So the last one you just did, is it Sherlock?
Yeah, Sherlock.
Yeah, so that's all the staff names for Easy Excel. Now, can we rename that whole names as maybe Easy Excel employees or something? So
not within the custom list dialog box. You can name those cells. Okay. Remember, you can name that range. You can name that range, and then you can use it. There's another, there are other ways in which you can name that range and then use it to generate the list, but not through here.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
We have just one more question.
Question?
It's
Yes.
how we got to this custom list
Okay.
from general.
Okay, so we went to so general. Then you have a button. Let me do.
Can we just go over it just one time?
Okay, so we went to file. Yeah, and then we went to options. Yeah, advanced. And then you go to the right pane and then you scroll down as if you're scrolling all the way to the end, and then you will see the general group there, the general section, edit custom lists. So that's the button you're looking for, and it will bring you.
Okay, do we have another question? We will actually go for a break. Do you want to take another question?
Yes, go.
Okay. Oh, please don't come out of there.
Oh, don't
Go
come
back
out
into
of
your
that
edit list,
place.
yeah.
Okay,
Go back into
where
your edit
was
list,
I?
please.
Can't even find it. Yes, edit costing list. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You remember when you did the cell naming?
Cell naming.
Yeah.
Yes.
So assume we'd given this particular list of staff names, the word staff name. Can I just reference the word staff? Can I bring the word staff reference?
Do you know,
in
I
there?
haven't tried that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's possible.
If we could,
Okay?
yeah.
I'll do that while you break, and then we can experiment on that once you come back.
It would be nice if we could.
Yeah.
Can you just remember the one word instead of 1,000 names?
Okay,
If it's
so we'll
possible.
see. I'll do that and see what happens. Okay, so do you guys want to take 5 minutes?
Yeah, before you go, can I just say, we've learned so much in such a little time. If we can just give Nesochi a round of applause. I'm not sure.
As we're starting again, can I just mention that word again? Taste. Taste. Okay? Because the rate at which we go, we might not be able to get to the end of that list that I told you, but as far as you've gotten something, hopefully that will be good. Now we're going to go into a bit of time-saving stuff now. I'm hoping this would really be useful for somebody. I'm going to cancel that. If you're still in that spreadsheet that we were working on, you can save what you have done if you want to. I'm going to save mine. And who likes keyboard shortcuts here? Who likes, hey, we got the shortcut people. Right, now, I would like to close this workbook, but I don't want to close Excel. What shortcut do I need? Yeah! I like this. I always like doing this one. Nobody knows this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Control and... Okay, I want to close the actual workbook, you know, but I don't want to close Excel. I just want to close that workbook. Control and escape. Who wants to guess something?
Control and save.
Control and save. No. Okay, it has to be one letter. Control and
S.
Escape.
Control and S is save.
Save.
Control and E.
Control and E. No. Control and X is cost. Control and C is copy. Control W. Yes, that's why I like doing that, because it's not an obvious one. Okay? But obviously Control and C has been taken up by copy, so they have to find another letter. Control W. Yeah. Just hold the Control key, press W. Yes, sir.
Sorry, something interesting happened there.
Oh my.
Control W.
What happened?
No, basically, it's asking you want to save before you remind.
Yeah, because you didn't save it before.
Before, right.
Yeah. So it's the same thing that happens every time you want to close a file. It will ask you, you sure you want to close this without saving? It's just being intuitive and trying to be smart. That's all. Okay, guys. All right, so I want to create a new blank workbook. Keyboard shortcut, please.
Control N.
Control
Sorry, say that again.
N. Thank you. That's right. That one is actually quite easy. Sorry, did I? Control N. Are we there? Sorry. I hope this isn't too loud now. Okay. Does everybody have a new blank? Well, not everybody. The people with laptop. Do you have a new blank workbook in front of you? All right. So what we're going to do now, still back to my easy Excel company theme. Right. Now, see, like we said, nice company that we're working with. What we're trying to do in the Easy Excel company is that we want to support some charities. I think I better write this down just so you can follow me. All right. So we're trying to raise money for some charities. So we have what were they called? Compassion. Okay. And we've called it CO. And Christian Aid, because we're in a church, obviously, CA, and World Reach. Do not ask me why I picked them. I picked them at random, but they're nice charities anyway. Okay, so what we're looking at here is that we're organizing some events to raise money for these charities, and we're getting all of our staff members involved, all those people, lovely people who volunteered to be members of our staff. And we have a fundraising target for each of these. So what we want to do is to create a spreadsheet which we will use to calculate some of those fundraising targets. We want to find out some of the targets, how much money is being raised, etc, etc. So if you're following me, I'm just going to type in a title called the Easy Excel Charity. Easy Excel Charity. Sorry, typing is not my strongest suit, but I try. Oh, no. Okay. No. Sorry. I jumped the gun. Bad teacher. I'm going to delete that. Just simply because I want to show something. Now, what I'd like to do first is to create some sheets. Okay, so by default, if you're working in 2010, you should have 3 sheets that show up by default. Now, 2016, it's 1 sheet. Don't ask me why they did that, but that's what they did. And I'll simply double click on sheet 1 and rename it and call it Event 1. Okay? And press enter. And I'm going to create another sheet called Event 2. And then I'll create a third one called Event 3. Okay? Is that cool? Right. And then I'm going to save this file. You can save it if you want to. I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call it the Easy Excel Charities, just so I can save it later. Easy. So, you don't need to name it. It's just, you know, me being pedantic. Are we cool? So we now have a spreadsheet which we've created, and we have 3 sheets in there. Okay. So just the theme I was talking about earlier on was the fact that we are doing some fundraising for these charities, and we're getting all members of staff to get involved. Okay, and in the process of doing this, we're going to be organizing 3 events. So essentially what we want to be able to do is to gather information about each of these events on these 3 different sheets. Now, in the process of doing this, I am going to need to enter in some information that's going to be generic to all of them. So it's, you know, information that the titles, the headings, they're going to be the same on all of them. Okay? So if I've, you know, since I want to get this across to all 3 sheets, I'm going to put this out to you, okay? What's the quickest way you can think of that we can make this happen? What would you normally do? If you have the same information on sheet 1, which you want to be on sheet 2, you want to be on sheet 3, probably on sheet 20, how would you do that as quick as possible? Yes, Victor?
Select the 3 of them.
The 3 sheets.
And then you type it, and when you select one.
Okay, so we always have somebody in the class who's really smart. So, does anybody know, who else knows how to do this? This is what we call group editing, yes?
But I always end up, I know with working with doing that kind of things, when you select multiple sheets, especially with copy and pasting, you have to be careful to ungroup because you end up with circular references sometimes, and I've had a problem whereby I've I've grouped sheets together to do a task, and then I forget to ungroup the sheets, and then I messed up the whole sheet. And sometimes I just feel like I have to double check each time I'm like grouping sheets together.
Absolutely. So you see, this is great. You know, this is, you know, it's good to share those experiences because everything that we have on here comes with a health warning. Okay, it will make your life easy, but you still have to remember some things. If you look at my sheet on here, I put in bold letters. I actually went in and made it really, really bold. ungroup the sheets. Because I tend to forget as well. So this is one of those tools that will really, really make things easy for you when you have several sheets that you need to work on. But what Ife said is absolutely right. If you forget to ungroup it, then you have things typing this. And I'm hoping, in this session I don't make that mistake, because it's happened to me several times. But if you do, understand the principle behind what we're saying, it can make your life a lot easier. And this is also something to take note of in terms of good spreadsheet design, okay? If you have several sheets where you're going to have common information, you can do something like this. Try and place everything in the same sort of place. It actually makes your life easy, even when it comes to linking your sheets with formulas and functions. It can cut the work that you do by several minutes, okay? But you still have to remember about the grouping and ungrouping. So we're going to do what we're talking about. We're going to group the sheets, and that will allow us to enter information into all three of them at the same time. Now, to group your sheets, you click on the first one, okay? And if you want to group all three of them, all those sheets on there, if you hold on your Shift key, you can click on the last one and it will group all three of them. Okay? So click on the first sheet tab, hold down your Shift key, and then click on the last one. Okay, so all of those things are grouped at the moment. Okay? Yeah. Okay, are we grouped? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Now that I've shown you how to group, I better show you how to ungroup the sheets. It's important. If you right-click on it, you can ungroup them. Okay? So right-click, you'll get the shortcut menu. The very last thing at the bottom of that sheet, that menu is ungroup sheets. If you click on it, it will ungroup the sheets. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Now, remember that in the first instance, I used the Shift key. The Shift key works the same way when you're grouping files or anything. Shift key, you click on the first item, hold down your Shift key, you click on the last item, it will select everything in between. But if you want to select different things at random, what key do you use? Control. So if you want to select two sheets that are not adjacent to each other, so for example, I go to event 1, hold my Control key and click on event 3, so you can select them at random as well. It will group those two and it will leave the one in the middle out. Okay? Now, if you've done this, if you have a situation where you've grouped some sheets at random, if you click on any sheet that wasn't grouped, it will ungroup the other two for you. Okay, so that's another way of ungrouping if that's your situation.
Sorry, what's the other way of ungrouping?
Okay, so if you've grouped two sheets, okay, that are not next to each other, if you have a sheet in between them or around them that's not in the group, if you click on that sheet, it will ungroup the other two. Yep. Okay.
Be careful.
All right, so we're going to group the three sheets, shall we? Okay, so click on event 1, hold your Shift key, and click on event 3. Okay, now that they're grouped, it means that everything that we type on this sheet is going to appear on all three of them. Okay, so we're going to type in our main heading, which is the Easy Excel Charity. Okay, and yeah, I'm going to make that a bit bigger. Roll that. And make it bold. Okay, it's just so you can see it better. All right. Now, and then we're going to type in the following headings. I hope I can remember. Where are we? Okay. Staff names.
Can I ask
ask a very simple
Yes,
question?
simple
Why
question.
does it do that? Like, you know, you tapped in the Easy Excel charity.
Yeah.
Yours is across 4 columns, but mine is in 1 column.
It's just the size of when you say yours is in 1 column, has your column expanded to accommodate that one?
I got it now.
Column
Yeah.
Oh, mine is doing the same. I was wondering why yours is behaving differently.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
All right. So staff names. What's the next one? Charity. FR target. That's fundraising target. And amount raised. Am I spelling right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I will also make these a bit bigger, just so you can see it. And expand. Now the reason I'm not doing a double click is because I don't want it to expand on the Easy Excel charity. All right. Okay, all good? Are we all there? Are we all together?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. So we put those things. Now, can you remember that automatic list we created the first time with our staff names? Okay, what's the first name on the list again?
Sherlock
Holmes. Yes. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, semi-retired detective. So we're going to use that automatic list to populate our staff names now. So in cell A4, I am going to type Sherlock H, and then go to the bottom right corner, double click. Come on. Oh, no. The double click won't work because it's grouped. No, because it's grouped. Okay? That's another thing to point out. When you group the sheets, you might find some things don't work as they should. But if you drag it down, it will work. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so we've got all those names in there. I'm hoping that's working for everybody. Okay. Now, we then want to put in the charity that they're supporting, okay? Now, ordinarily, if I had a lot of time, I would ask you guys to tell me which ones you want to support. But I don't have time, so I'm going to give you any charity anyway, okay? There are 3 of them, okay? So there's CO, there's CA, and there's WR, okay? So you can also create a quick sequence for yourself by typing it in there. Does anybody know how you do this? Okay? Okay, let's look at this. I want to type in these charities. I want to allocate a charity to each of our members of staff. Okay? So I go to B4 and I type CO. That's for compassion. And then in B5 I type CA. Okay? And then in B6 I type WR. Alright? So I have those 3 charities on there. Now, I could keep typing this, but it's going to take me forever. So what I want to do is to generate a sequence where it just keeps copying itself down. So I will highlight the 3 of them. So notice I'm in the middle of the cell. I click in the middle of the CO cell and highlight all 3 cells. Okay? And then when I go to the bottom right corner, I can drag this down. It will just keep repeating that sequence until I stop.
So that's random allocation.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know, I'm asking you. It looks like a randomly allocated. It doesn't matter what the person does.
Yeah, but this is because I don't have time. So what I've done here, if you notice, what it will do, it will go COCAWR, and then it will continue COCAWR. It's a bit like doing sequences, okay? So that's what it will keep doing until I stop. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm late. I'll ask you a quick question. Where did the information on staff names come from?
Yeah, we did it in the first part. You're right, you are late. But I can explain that to you later. Yeah? No, we created an automatic list, okay, which is referencing another sheet. But then, because we've created that list, if we go to where we have our automatic list, our custom list, it's on there. So that means that, and it's on another sheet, by the way, yes. And that means that once we type it in, it will show on there. Now, the reason why that happens, though, is the way Excel actually works is that once you open up an Excel worksheet, you're looking at this one in the front, but Excel opens up something that it calls the normal template at the back of your sheet. Okay, so things like those automatic lists that we've created, they are saved in a normal template. So anytime you open up an Excel sheet, it's there in the background. Because the way Excel reproduces these things for you, if for example, like when we did the named cell, okay, any sheet that you have open, those names will be available to that sheet. So if I have another sheet that's open in the background that has a certain name in it, I can use it in another sheet. But once it's saved in the normal template, it's always in the background anyway, which makes it available to any sheet that you open up. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, right. Again, and I'm doing all this because I don't have time to generate these figures. So we've done the staff names, we've done the charities, and then we have the fundraising targets on there, okay? So again, we should probably put in figures on here, but I have to do this quickly. So the way we're doing this here is that we've decided in the Easy Excel company that the people who were there first will have a higher target than the people who started last. Does that make sense? And that's fair, don't you think, So if you've been there longer, you have a higher target. So we're starting from, for Sherlock, his target is £5,000, I think. Yes, that's what I gave him. Yeah. So Sherlock Holmes' fundraising target is 5,000. So I'm going to type 5,000 for him. Okay? And then I'd like to then reduce the target by 250 for each people. So it will subtract 250 each time until it gets to, oh no, we don't have Sherlock twice. I don't want you twice though. Okay? So we're going to keep reducing by 250 until we get to Betty U. So it's quite similar to what I did the first time. Okay? So this I did with a text sequence. This I'm going to do with a number sequence. So 5,000, subtract 250, that's 4,750 for Janet B. Okay? Now once I've done that, I can highlight those two cells and then bottom right corner, copy it down. It will keep subtracting 250 each time until I get to the end.
So that's the first one, you just type it in? Or you
I just typed it in because I know what I want my sequence to be minus 250 each time. So I typed in the first number in the sequence, the second number in the sequence, and then I drag it down. Okay? And that helps me generate that as quickly as possible.
Sorry,
okay.
Did you put, sorry?
Yes, sir.
Did you put just 1, 2, you can drag
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So just the first number and the second number in the sequence, you highlight both of them and then you can drag it down. You can do the same thing with dates. Okay, so you can put in any, so if you put the first date and you want the second date to be 5 days after the first date, you put in the first date, the second date, you highlight two of them, it will keep adding 5 days until you stop. Okay, so that's how you create those sequences. All right? Okay, so I think those are the common elements done. Okay, so we have this for the Easy Excel charity, we have the staff names, everybody's charity, and their fundraising targets. And I have remembered to ungroup the sheets. So we're going to ungroup the sheets and see what we've done now. So if we right-click on any of those sheet tabs, ungroup sheets. Now, if you click on event 1, event 2, event 3, you will notice that all of that data is on all of those sheets. So I've put in all of my common data. I can then begin to put in the individual data that's unique to each particular event. So let's assume we've only this is we're doing 3 fundraising events and we have only just done the first one. So we're going to put in the details for event 1, and the details we're putting in is the actual amount that was raised from that event. Okay? So we've ungrouped the sheets, and that means that anything that we type in now will only pertain to event 1. So I'm going to now be looking at putting in details for the amount raised from the first event. Okay, so if we click into cell D4, okay, again, because of time, I'm going to use a sequence to do this, just so that we can generate the data quickly. Okay, so I'm going to say that Sherlock Holmes has raised 3,000. I'm just picking this at random. There is no logic behind this. And I am going to increase the amount raised by 200. So for Janet B, it's going to be 3,200. Okay? And now that I have my first two figures in that sequence, I will highlight both of them, go to the bottom right corner, and drag it down. Okay? So this is just so I can quickly generate the information on here. And
Questions?
yes, ma'am.
What were you trying to do? What was the intention?
Okay, because we need to generate data so that we can do some calculations. So if you look at this spreadsheet, we have the staff names, we have the charity they're supporting, we have their fundraising targets, and then we're saying that we've done the first event and this is the actual amount that each of them has raised.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So that,
Yeah?
an example.
Yes, ma'am.
You wrote 3,000, right?
Yes.
What do you do to make you drag it down?
Yeah, so it's the same thing I did with the first one. I did 3,000, then I did 3,200, and then I highlighted the two of them, and I dragged it down.
Apart from that, you did ungroup the sheet.
Yes,
You group it before.
Yeah, it was grouped when I was putting all these details, because I wanted all these details to be available on all three sheets.
So you did group it.
I grouped it, and then I put in all the details. Once I had finished with the target, I then ungrouped the sheets.
I don't know how you grouped it in the first place.
Oh,
Maybe I'll
okay.
read it up anyway.
Okay, that's fine, this is fine. Now look at just so you can see what we've done. We put all these different details on all three sheets, but then I ungrouped and then put the amount raised for event 1.
Okay.
Now when I go to event 2, you will notice it doesn't have
so
amount
you don't
raised.
need to group, you just create the different sheets.
You create the different sheets first, then you group them.
How do you group?
Okay, so you group them by clicking on the first sheet, you hold down your shift key, and you click on the third sheet. So they're now grouped. And once they're grouped, anything you type will appear on all three of them. Does that make sense? Okay? And then when you ungroup, so what we're saying is, once you've grouped them, just have in mind whatever I do is affecting all three. Okay? Once you've finished doing everything that you want to be on all three of them, you ungroup. And once you ungroup, you can then go and enter data that is unique to each individual sheet. Because obviously, each event, they're going to raise a different amount of money. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes, sir.
That makes sense. I mean, it seems that it even gives an advantage. Once you've grouped, you can enter some generic data. Then you ungroup, put data into maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then you can regroup it and then put data further down. So you could have some, sorry, I'm getting too...
No, but you're absolutely right. This is what we're talking about.
So you can basically ungroup and regroup based on the particular columns you want to fill.
That's right. Absolutely. So this is what we're talking about. It's about efficiency. So when you're thinking about the spreadsheet, it's good to actually spend some time planning what it is you want to achieve, especially when you're dealing with those big spreadsheets, because it could save you time down the line, okay? And we're going to do something similar to exactly what you've just said. So we've put in the data on here, okay? We grouped it, put in the FR targets, and then we put in the data for amount raised for event 1, okay? Now, what we want to do next, okay, is to have a look at a function. We want to then, the next thing we're going to do is to put in a function that is going to help us calculate who's raised, the people who's raised, who's met their target and who hasn't, okay? Now, because it's a function that I want to be able to use on all three of them, because of the way I've designed this sheet, I can actually group the sheets and enter in all my formulas and functions, even though there isn't any data on the other sheets. That means that those formulas are set, and which means once we complete event 2 and put the data in there, it will calculate it automatically, okay? And that will save us time. So that's what we're trying to achieve here, okay? So we've put in the amount raised, and the next thing we're going to have a look at, a quick look, is functions. So we've just kind of eased into that.
Amount
Yes,
raised
is not good.
column. Do you have it in the other ones? Or
No,
should I just
no.
put in
No.
one of
No,
them?
no. So just think about what we're trying to do here. We've said all of them, their names are on there, so I need that on all the sheets.
Okay.
I need the charity they support on all the sheets. I need their targets to show on all the sheets. But for each event, they're going to raise a different amount of
Right,
money.
okay, great. Thank you.
Okay? All right. So the next thing we're going to look at is a function. And we're going to use some functions to try and help us get some information about what they've done with this event raising. You know, some things like who met their target, who didn't meet their target, that sort of thing. And that brings me to functions in Excel, okay? Now, I keep saying the word function, and I'm sure we've heard the word function. What is a function? Hmm? Yeah? Was somebody going to say something? Why are you smiling? You know what a function is. You've all been talking about it. Okay, what is a formula? Okay, yeah, a function is a formula, is that what you're saying? Okay, so why didn't they just keep it and call it a formula? Why did they call it a function? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to try to define it.
Yeah,
because a function can contain formulas.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, a function is an item that you can use that's already defined by
Predefined
Microsoft
instructions.
Excel. So it's available to use. So let's say you want to know what pi is. Instead of writing 2 point blah blah blah, you can just call up the pi function in
Okay,
Excel.
absolutely.
It's a predefined formula.
Thank you. So that's exactly what you said. It's a predefined
You
formula.
can create it. Sometimes you can create it. Sometimes it's predefined, like VLOOKUP. And some other times it's not. You can create it, like if you want to use the if function, if formula, you can use if and then tell it what you want it to do. You can create a function and you can use a predefined one.
Okay, so that's what a function is. You see? Do you want to become a trainer?
You have a prophecy.
I'm not prophesying, but you know. Okay, but anybody can be a trainer. Anybody can be a trainer. Sorry, what's that? I didn't need a master's degree to be a trainer, though. Okay, you should, you should see what people do. Somebody read a book on, I asked him, how did you get into coaching? And he said to me, I read 7 Habits of Highly Efficient People, and I became a coach. I thought, however, I did a 2-year master's. What are you talking about? But again, if you just have a passion of passing across knowledge, whatever field of life you work in, you can translate that into training. Especially a lot of people I meet on the training circuit are people who've probably gotten to the end of their career and then they're now kind of just passing that knowledge across. So it's something that you could do if you're passionate in that way. Anyway, back to what we're doing here. Okay? So we're talking about functions, and that's what it is. It's a predefined formula. Okay? Earlier on, we talked about what formulas are. You type your equal sign, and then you put in the cell references, okay? And then you put in your, your plus, your minus, or whatever it is you want to calculate. Now, that's okay when we're doing this times that, okay? Or what if you want to do, simple interest, okay? Compound interest. I honestly don't remember how to do it, so please do not ask me how to do it. But can you see the problem, I remember university days. Don't ask me any engineering questions. I don't practice. Ordinary differential equation. I'll never forget that. I can't remember it, but I just know it was painful.
It is painful. They're mentioning it is painful.
But anyway, so this is what we have, So in order to make our life easy, we have these predefined formulas to make those complicated things simpler for us to be able to manage in Excel. And where would you find your functions in Excel? Who knows? We've been there today. Yeah. The name kind of gives it away, yeah? So when you get to your formulas tab and you're looking at your formulas ribbon, you can see that you have a function library, okay? And it is really a function library. If you look at on there, there are several different categories of function on there. So just looking at the category, depending on the type of function you're looking at, you can find the category on here. So we have logical functions, okay? And these are the functions that's involved doing a logical test. A logical test means that you ask a question that only has a yes or no answer, true or false, okay? Here or there. So those are your logical functions. We're going to hopefully have a look at the if function, okay? And then you have other functions, text functions. These can be really, really good for cleaning up your data, okay? Who's had concatenate before? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that one, okay? Concatenate, okay? I couldn't say this before. I'm so proud of myself for being able to say it now. But, you know, when you have data that just comes into a spreadsheet, sometimes it's not showing up the way that you want it to be. So concatenate, I believe, is the one where you have maybe a name and a surname in two different fields. You want to put them together, you can concatenate them. We're not going to talk about that today. But feel free to book into an advanced Excel session. It's 2 days, and we'll talk about concatenate then. So you have text functions, and the functions that separate text and so on and so forth. You have financial functions, so people who work in the financial industry will find it on there. Lookup and reference, our lovely VLOOKUP is down there. Yes, everyone's asking about VLOOKUP. Sorry, I'm not going to try and do that today, it will take forever. But it's lovely. Once you understand VLOOKUPs, it will change, you know, make your life a lot easier. So you have those. Who uses functions? If I gave us examples of some if VLOOKUPs earlier on. Anybody recognize anything? Who uses engineering functions here? Yeah. So you have them on here as well. So you see where we have more functions, you can see engineering. I have never been to that since I only use that engineering degree to make my CV look nice, you know. Don't ever ask me an engineering question. But, you know, so that's it. And then we have statistical functions, and so on and so forth. So that's your function library, okay? And that's where you find all of them. So just kind of give us a taste. Did somebody want to ask something? No. So just kind of give us a taste. Now, looking at the spreadsheet that we have in front of us, we've seen their targets and we've seen the amount raised. And what we want to do is to, sorry, that's me. I'm trying to remind myself when I have 15 minutes. I have 15 minutes. Okay, or even less. So what we're going to do, what we want to do here is we want to put in a function there that helps us to, or gives us information about who has missed or who's met their target and who hasn't met their target. So I'm going to type a heading in E3 and call it hit target with a question mark. Hit target. Question mark. Okay? So I'm asking, who's hit their target? That's what I'm asking. Actually, you see that thing we said about grouping and ungrouping? I've forgotten to group again. Okay? Sorry. I'm going to delete that. Now, the reason why I'm going to group is because I want this to show up on all of the sheets. Okay? So I'm going to group the sheets. Event 1, hold my shift key, and event 3, and then I'm going to type hit target. Okay. Now, the function that I want to use here is the if function. Okay, so who's used the if function? Okay, who wants to talk to me about the if function? Victor?
Well, it's a conditional. If the condition is true,
okay,
you're gonna receive true or false.
Okay. Absolutely. So what the if function, and that's why they gave it the name if. Okay? The idea is that the if function is going to do a logical test. So you're going to give Excel a logical test, okay? So you're going to tell it to compare something, to test something. And if the answer to that test is true, it will put a certain figure in that cell. And if the answer is false, it will put something else in that cell, okay? So, back to what I'm saying on here. I'm trying to check who's hit their target and who hasn't, okay? So what I want Excel to go and do for me, I want Excel to test for each of this one, go and check if the amount raised is greater than or equal to the target. I want you to put in, yes, they've hit the target, okay? But if not, I want you to put no. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's our if function on there. Now, something to note about functions, once you're familiar with what we call the function syntax, the function syntax is simply the way it's written, okay? Once you're familiar with it, you'll find that you will just click in the cell, you type equal to, you open your brackets, you put your commas, inverted commas and everything where it's supposed to be, and that's fine. But when you're starting off with a particular function and you can't remember what all the function arguments are, you can use your function library to get to it, and it will make it easier for you to build that function. So that's what we're going to do now with the if function. So if you're following me, click into cell E4, okay? And then in the function library, where's the if function again? Which category? Logical, thank you. So if you click on the logical button on there and select if, okay? Now, when you do that, it will open up what we call the function arguments dialog box. Now, the reason why this box is really, really useful is because it helps you to build your function without you having to think too much about where everything should be. Now, if you look at the function arguments box we have on there, it says if, and it actually tells you at the bottom what the if function does. It says checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false, okay? A logical test, which is the first thing we're going to put in there, is any value expression that can be evaluated to true or false. So, in our logical test box, you just make sure you're clicked into there. What we're going to put in is, we're asking it to check if the amount raised, so the amount raised, I'll click into D4, which is the amount raised for Sherlock Holmes. And we're going to check if that is greater than or equal to, so you put in your greater than sign, and then the equal to sign, okay? And we then put in C4, which is where we have the fundraising target. So our logical test is checking if the amount raised in D4 is greater than or equal to the function fundraising target in C4, okay? Now, once it has done that, we then want to tell Excel what to put in the cell if that value is true. So we're saying if you check that if you test this and it turns out to be true, that D4 is greater than or equal to C4, we want you to go into that cell and put in the word yes. So we're just going to type yes in there. So that means yes, they have met their target. And if the value, if it has not met that condition, we want you to put in no. So we'll just type no in there. Okay? And that's it really, we're done. So we click OK. And no, Sherlock did not meet his target. Okay? However, when we go to the bottom right corner and drag it down, we will notice that all our lovely employees from today have met their target. Yes. Nice one. Okay, have I gotten to the end? Sorry, guys. But at least we've done the if function. So unfortunately, I do have to round up. Okay? But I'm hoping at least we have gotten something good out of there. Does that make sense? Now, remember that I have those things groups, okay? So I am going to ungroup them, okay? And just to kind of show you the advantage of, what did I just do? Oh yes, that's what I wanted to say. So you see, we don't have the amount raised for event 2, but if we then go and put something in there at random, so if, for example, I put 6,000 for him, it will automatically go to yes. And so once we fill in our data, our spreadsheet is automatically generated. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So some of the analysis tools that you have in Excel, let me go back to event 1, okay? Now, I will go to the data tab, okay? And I'm just going to cover some of them in general, and then I think the one that you probably will enjoy the most is pivot tables. Yeah? Okay? All right, so, but you have several analysis tools here, just so you just know they're on here. You have your what if analysis tool. It'll take too long to explain that. You have a goal seek. My sheet is just compressed. I can't see where they are. What if analysis, I think, if I click on that. So you have things like the scenario manager, the goal seek, the data table. We'll cover all this in an advanced session of Microsoft Excel. And these help you to just kind of look at your data and see where different things are happening. However, just so we can get a picture of some of what we have in this data, you can turn this data into what we call a pivot table. Who knows what a pivot table is? Yes, sir.
It's representing the figures as a graphical table.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. You can have a pivot table and you can have a pivot chart. Essentially, what a pivot table allows you to do is to see your data, okay, see the parts of the data that are useful to you and discard the rest. So I'll just show you something very, very quickly. So for example, we have the charities on here and we have the amount raised. So supposing I want to find out how much was raised for, what's the total amount that was raised for each charity, okay? I can turn this into a pivot table. We're going to do this very, very quickly. So click anywhere in the middle of the data. And if we go to insert, and we go to pivot table, okay? And it will come up with this small dialog box asking you to choose the data you want to analyze. Now, it will automatically pick any block of data that you're clicked into. And you can just click OK. Remember, this takes about, what, 45 minutes to go through, so I'm just really being quick. And it will bring you here, and this usually looks alien to a lot of people, but what you have on the right is where it will pick up all the fields from your table, okay? And then you have these bits at the bottom that allows you to build your pivot table. So if, for example, I want the charity to form the rows of my table, if I click on charity, for example, okay, it will put it as the row numbers in this table. So I'm building that table in that way, okay? Now, I want to be able to see the total amount that was raised for each charity. If I click on amount raised, it will go and put amounts in the values on here. So it's just cleaned up my data. So I now have the figure for Christian Aid, Compassion, and World Reach. And these are their totals of amount raised. So I don't have all the other data clogging it up. If someone is asking me how much was raised for Christian Aid, I can just look on there and say, yes, that was the amount that was raised, okay? And very quickly, you can actually depict this graphically. So once you have a pivot table showing, it will come up with your analyze. This is more or less like your contextual tab for your pivot tables, and on there you'll see what we call a pivot chart. Okay? In Excel 2016, you can actually directly create a pivot chart from insert chart, but you can also do it this way. If we click on pivot chart here, just to give you an example of what pivot chart we can have. So see, for example, we have this. I've just used the clustered column. Click OK, and there you have it. So I also have a graphical representation of that data. Okay? Remember, I've gone through this. I've literally sped through pivots, okay? But you probably need more time to dig into it. So, but this is what you can do. I'm hoping that helps.
Thank you very much.
No.
We need to have a break now.
No.
Thank you very much. She's done a lot. Can we give her a round of applause?
My volunteers for today. Ah, yes. should do. Toyo.